Welcome to my GTA 6 All Weapons Breakdown. I will be covering everything that we have seen in trailers 1 and 2, as well as all screenshots. There are several very cool ones, so let's get started. First up, we have the Beretta M9 or 92FS, a classic double-action 9mm pistol with a capacity of 15+1. It was the standard US military service pistol from 1985 to 2017. This will probably be Jason's preferred sidearm due to his familiarity with it, using it in the Army, making it a pretty cool gun to see. Next up, we have the Glock 17, one of the most popular handguns in the US for police, civilians, and criminals. The Glock 17 is a striker-fired handgun chambered in 9mm and should have a capacity of 17+1 with a standard magazine. However, there are extended magazine options available. The Glock is most likely what we will see the more regular police carrying. In this close-up shot of Lucia, she has something that resembles a Walther PPS or maybe a Canik variant. In this shot of Booby Ike, he appears to have a handgun with a switch installed, turning it into a fully automatic handgun. Switch devices are extremely illegal to install, but not uncommon for criminals. Moving on to the 1911, we have a classic single-action semi-auto handgun with over 100 years of service in military and law enforcement, and still widely used today. Most commonly chambered in .45 ACP with an 8+1 capacity. 1911s are known for crisp triggers, accuracy, and reliability, not to mention good looks. Many companies still make 1911s today, ranging from basic mil-spec models to custom shop, target, or tactical variants. From what we have seen, the 1911 appears to be the preferred sidearm of tactical or specialized police. Raul Batista also looks to be a fan of custom 1911s, as we can see his equipped with a red dot sight. I'm looking forward to seeing what kind of modifications we'll actually be able to do to these. Moving on to Lucia's handgun of choice, the Walther PPK. It's small, lightweight, and very concealable. You could also argue that it's a Bersa Thunder 380 or something similar. But with a 7-round capacity, it will still get the job done at your local convenience store robbery. A 380 wouldn't be my first choice, but it certainly beats nothing. Last up, in the handgun category, we have the Colt Python chambered in .357 Magnum with a 6-shot capacity. A classic 60s era revolver known for a smooth double-action trigger and its accuracy. This one appears to have a 4-inch barrel, however, barrel lengths can range from 2.5 inches to 8 inches. This is probably my favorite handgun we have seen so far. Moving into rifles, we start with Phil and his very America-themed AR-15. First seen in Trailer 1, during the police raid, we can see tactical M4 style rifles that the more specialized police are using. It's not uncommon to see gang and drug enforcement units using rifles similar to these. And here we see Brian's wife sporting a more competition-style rifle, potentially indicating some sort of shooting match minigame such as 3-gun competitions, which would be very cool to see. In this shot, we get a first glimpse of Jason and his M4. We also see Raoul with what looks like a bare bones HK-416 or possibly a Mark 18 variant custom rifle. In this image, we get a close-up look at Jason's preferred rifle, a classic simple M4, probably similar to what he trained with when he was in the army. Moving on to the walls of the gun shop, we have a selection of AR-15 style rifles as well as AK-47 style rifles. And I'm honestly happy to see wood furniture coming back to the AKs. Next, we have a few interesting rifles that I'm going to put in the hunting category, like we can see them being used for in the screenshot. However, they can and both have been used in combat roles as battle rifles. First, the AR-10, most likely chambered in .308 or 7.62x51. A much more substantial cartridge for taking gators than a 5.56 would be. It could also be chambered in something like .338 or 300 Win Mag, but for now, let's stick with .308. The other gentleman appears to have an M1A, which is a semi-auto variant of the M14, also chambered in .308. These will both typically have a 20-shot magazine and are a fine choice for hunting. We can also see a few of them in stock at the gun shop. This man in the back of the truck, hauling dead gators, also appears to have an M1A, but it is kind of hard to tell. As well as this prison guard who appears to have a pistol grip on his stock. This could be another variant, but again, it's hard to tell. So, let me know what you think. Moving on to these two gentlemen with bolt-action rifles. To me, these look like Remington Model 700s, most likely chambered in .30-06, but could also be chambered in something like 7mm Remington Magnum. Either way, they would be considered high-power rifles. This one might be a bit of a long stretch, but to me it looks like a Ruger 1022 on the bottom left section of the wall in the gun shop. I would not be surprised seeing a .22 long rifle similar to the Varmint rifle in Red Dead 2, especially if the hunting system is similar. Next up are shotguns. Although we can see at least 4 different types of shotgun, I'm going to assume they are all chambered in 12 gauge. However, hopefully we see a few different ammo types including slugs and buckshot, similar to Red Dead 2. The first guy we see on the airboat appears to have a double barrel side-by-side. We can also see double barrel over and unders in the gun shop. Both can be great guns, but neither of them would be my first choice in gator-infested waters. It's pretty neat to see that over and unders and side-by-sides will be added to the game. Continuing with shotguns, we see something that looks like a Mossberg 500 or maybe a 590. Next we see a semi-auto that resembles a Beretta 1301 or maybe a Mossberg 930. In this final shot we get kind of a split image, but it looks like another pump and another semi-auto, still thinking a Mossberg 500 and a Beretta 1301, but without pistol grips. Moving on to submachine guns, we start with an absolute classic, the HK MP5. Here we can see Jason and Lucia using MP5s during this bank heist, which is a great choice due to the amount of firepower you get from such a small package. These would typically be chambered in 9mm, but due to the straight magazines, these could also very well be chambered in 10mm. I'm hoping to see lots of modification options for this gun. Here we see a guy hanging out of a car window with an MP5. It's nice to see passengers are able to use larger weapons in vehicles. Back to the gun shop, we can see several other models, including the MP5, but also what looks to be an MP9 or maybe an MP7. Also, possibly a MAC-10 or Micro Uzi, as well as possibly a Tech-9. For our heavy category, we start out in ammunition, with Phil showing off his FN M249 saw. This belt-fed light machine gun would be chambered in 5.56 with a 200 round capacity. This is something Jason would also be familiar with due to his time in the Army. The saw, or squad automatic weapon, was nicknamed the Pig and has a fire rate of around 850 rounds per minute, making it more than capable of dealing out some serious damage. Next we see Lucia firing grenades at the police with a Milcor M32 40mm grenade launcher. We can assume it will be very similar to the one we have in GTA 5 right now. And here we see what looks to be a 50 cal machine gun mounted to this helicopter, possibly a Browning M2. Last but not least, a quick look at the melee weapons. A lot of these will be pretty obvious, but for the sake of being thorough, I will go through them. Starting off with Brian and his rather large looking hunting knife. Next, from the first trailer, we see one of the cops has a collapsible baton on his belt, which I don't think we have seen before in GTA. Moving on to the classic hammer, which has been in many GTA games, it's nice to see its return. Next, it looks like the golf club will be returning, as well as the pool stick. And last, we can see a few examples of baseball bats, as well as possibly a shovel. If you've made it this far into the video, thank you for watching. Let me know in the comments which weapon you are most looking forward to, or any other thoughts you have. I plan to do a GTA 6 weapon wish list and prediction video soon, so stay tuned for that. Until we meet again, have a great day.